All right, I had to make a new one, man. That last one, playing around with filters, man. The app cut off. Oh man. So I tagged him in this new one, man. All right. I don't know what happened to that last one. Is this still showing live for y'all? Okay, no. It's a new one. Okay, cool. All right, we good now. I'm gonna put some stuff back in context. This brother took all out of context, man. While I'm waiting on him, one of the things that he said before he ended his thing was regarding man, I forgot. Hold on a sec. Is regarding he made a statement about not being able to marry Caucasian women and or in this case any woman that's outside of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in his view. Of course, you know that's why I want the brother in here because I don't want him to be like, "Hey man, talking about me behind my back." So I tagged him in it. Y'all can see it in the title. I'm waiting for the brother to come in, and a lot of the stuff that he said in his video is way out of context, man. And honestly, just going in the future, man, for a lot of y'all brothers, man, like honestly, I'd rather do these live talks because the whole running back and forth in the comment section or whatever the case is takes up too much time. I hate typing all of that stuff, man. And so I'd rather have these live talks and actually see the person face to face on the camera. But yeah, so one of the things the brother mentioned was the ability. Well, first of all, he thinks that the Bible is only for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's the first thing he goes way off with. Then on top of that, and this is all because this brother either still in or was at least from 2016, a member of IUIC. All right. Obviously, y'all know my background. That's the camp I came from. So, I know what he's being taught is a bunch of false doctrine. The stuff he's spewing is the same stuff I used to spew like 2 years ago when I was still with them. And so it's no surprise to me. I understand exactly what that brother's spewing. So I'm just waiting for him to come in this room. I tagged him because I want to talk about some of the stuff that he talked about in his stream. And I try to get on there. He pushed the button for me to come in. But for whatever reason, every time he wants me to come in on his room, the little thing is grayed out for me that I can't click to go live, that I can go in actually his room. So I've only been able, any conversation I've had has always been through my live stream, and he was able to come on my end. So I don't understand why I'm not able to get in on his live stream. But so I'm just waiting to see if he sees this to come in here. As soon as you show up, bro, I'm gonna invite you in, man. Yeah, I was playing around with the filters last one, man, and it turned off. Yeah, man, them joints funny, man. They got some funny little filters on there, man. But I'm trying to get the brother a couple of minutes to see this and come in here before I start. But how y'all brothers doing, man? What's going on, brother Chris? Brother Clint, I see you back. For whatever reason, it says 4 people watching, but only showed me 2 people was watching. That's weird. I only see 2 names, but it's saying 4 people was watching. So let me see what's going on here. So I'm just waiting on Rick Judah, man, to show up. That's it. The one thing you brothers could hear if y'all was watching some of his thing is that, obviously this brother, he ain't the only one, but them brothers within IUIC and stuff like that, because that's what he's with, or at least who he was with since 2016, at least to the very least. So if he's not with them, he's a rogue Israelite who kind of doing his own thing. Other than that, he's still part of the camp, which surprises me because this is not something that IUIC do. They don't get on live streams on Facebook and just do their own random little classes. Everything got to be branded for them. They do it on their own stuff because they got to promote the brand. So it's kind of weird that he's, at least to my knowledge, still part of IUIC and kind of doing this because it's not something that they do or allow. So I'm just waiting for him to come in here. But So while I'm waiting on him, if he doesn't come, is a lot of stuff that he was saying, man. Like for example, he said that it was against the law because he was glorifying the law of Christ. Obviously, that's what all those who don't believe on Christ do. They glorify the law over Christ. And you can tell where somebody's heart is by how they speak. You know, somebody who's all about the money versus their family or other priorities, especially if they're an artist or somebody. If you listen to the content that he makes, you know exactly what his mind is on. It's all about money, drugs, girls, and the things he's able to get in life. So you understand that. I see he liked the. Okay, I see he laughing at it. All right, come on in here, bro. So I can invite you, man. Because I'd rather talk while you in here. So let me see. Why is it not letting me see you in here? I saw you just reacted to it. Come in here, man, so I can invite you. I ain't gonna take up much of your time. I already seen it. Just come on in here. All right, there you go. Cool. All right, so I'm just waiting for him to jump in. I just invited him. There you go. All right, man. Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I can't see nothing. And this thing ain't even. All right. This thing don't stand up straight. But no, man. It's showing. Yes, this ain't. I'll just do it like this.
All right, just let me know when you can hear me.
I mean, that's all I can do. I can't. I want to stand on the phone the other way, but yeah, I can't. I can't hang too long. I got, like I said, I got some running to do.
All right, no problem, man. All right, bro. I just want to ask you a couple questions, man, and then go to a couple scriptures. All right. I came in maybe the last 5-10 minutes of your class thing that you was doing, but I got a good whiff of what you was talking about. I just want to ask you one thing though. So you made one statement. You said, you know, of course, you was talking about loving the law. You was making fun of Christians who say, you know, we love Christ. And he's like, you know, but we don't walk around saying we love the law. So my first question is going to be this, man. You made a statement regarding if you Black, Hispanic, or Native American, how it is against the Bible for you to marry, you know, Caucasian woman, or I'll say any woman that's outside of, or man that's outside of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who you know being taught and believe are the children of Israel. So my question is this: do you know that in the law that the law allowed for Israelite men to marry women of other nations? Did you know that?
If they were at war and they was gone for a while, yeah, I know about that.
Well, it wasn't that they were gone for a while. It was just that they, you know, won the war and
They
then they
took
saw a
over.
beautiful woman that they wanted to marry.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with being away for a long time. It was just that they won a war and the enemy was delivered to their hands and they saw beautiful women among the captives and they wanted to marry her. So you're well aware that the law allows for Israelite men to marry women of other nations.
Oh yeah, if you come in and shave
First,
their heads or whatever, they're at war. You're right, but that don't apply now because we ain't fighting no physical battles. The weapons of our warfare is not carnal. You know that, 2 Corinthians. So, but yeah, so we ain't fighting no real war no more. We ain't going to no lands. We ain't taking over nothing.
so all right. So if if the written law allowed for it through
Say
conversion
it
of the
again.
woman, according to Deuteronomy 21, and you're saying we're not under that because we're not fighting any real wars no more, then my question is, what law are you looking into now that then prohibits a man from marrying a woman of another nation through conversion if that woman forsakes her false gods and worship the one true God?
I ain't
So
saying the
what
law
law are
is
you looking
gone.
at now that prohibits that if you're not looking at Moses, which allowed it?
I'm not saying the law's gone. Just Judges 5:11 rehearse the righteous act in the land of our captivity. We in captivity. We ain't even revolted against our captors yet. So how we gonna try to go to war? We ain't going to no war. So that's why it ain't that it's not there. It's just we not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Certain things we can't do. Just like that one brother came on talking about, well, not brother. It was an Edomite, I think. It was a good script. I never seen them before. I would have been if I wasn't didn't have understand. I've been confounded when you talking about the parapet and put it on top of the house, the fencing or whatever. Yeah, is that on your house? Like, bruh, we don't own. We in captivity, and I
All right,
didn't
so
build the house.
let me start at one. Let me start at point zero, and then we'll work our way up to today. Then, so at
Okay.
point zero, where Israel is in their land, or they go to war, and the captives are delivered into their hand, according to the law, if an Israelite man saw a beautiful woman and wanted to marry her, then, of course, he had the ceremonial acts he had to take her through, basically converting her to the Jewish way of life at that time under the law. Then he was allowed to marry her. So you do agree that the law did allow for Israelite men to marry women of other nations under certain
They,
conditions.
if they went to war, they go shave the heads of the women. Yes, that's just what happened.
Right. So under certain
But
conditions, men could
yeah,
marry women of other nations, according to the law. All right. Now, because you said, I guess you're trying to imply that because you're not fighting a real war now, that Israelite men can't, or who you claim as Israelite men, can't marry women of other nations now because you're not fighting a real war. That's what you're trying to say?
I'm saying as I said, we not fighting a battle. But before we continue, let me get a script real quick because again, I told you we do a lot of talking here. We kind of opening up a lot of food, but I'm gonna
Oh, you breaking up.
chapter 12, verse 47. Hold on, I'm skipping.
Oh, that
I
was
think
me.
it's me. All right.
I
No,
heard
I
chapter
said it,
12.
but it was skipping. My bad.
What was
All
what
right.
was the script you called again?
Uh, Hold on. I'm waiting for this to stop skipping. Wait. All right.
I hear you now.
Verse 20, 40. All right. You hear me now? Okay. All right. Now, first one to get to, let's get Tobit. Let's get Tobit 4 and 12. And because which I know you know the scripture. We're gonna read this. And because since we talking about interracial marriage, I want to go ahead and I want to get the Bible. 'Cause, you know what I'm
October
saying?
4.
Scriptures in Proverbs say there once if not 10. So I don't want to have a bunch of words without the scripture. Tobit 4 and 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son. So firstly, he lets you know it's his whoredom. Read on. And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife. And you jump down. When am I going to finish that? Which is not of thy father's tribe, for we are the children of the prophet Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Verse 13. Now, therefore, my son, love thy brethren and the sons of the daughters of thy people, and not taking a wife from them. So the main thing he wanted us to understand, he said, we gotta love our people by marrying our people. If we go against someone else, then we are saying we hate our, because he says, despise not your brethren. Matter of fact, you read on, he says it, and not taking a wife of them, for pride is in destruction. So we hate our people when we go marrying someone else. We actually looking for reasons to marry someone else because we hate our people that much. Now, Jeremiah 4:22, you know what that is. We are wise to do evil. So we are wise to find a reason to sin, but we are not wise to find a reason to keep these commandments. All right.
All right. So based off what you just said, because I got two scriptures I'm going to go to. Number one, notice in the Tobit, I have my own thoughts on the Apocrypha altogether. But if you're going to read it, Tobit 4 and 12, what you read, it said, beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers. Why did he say beware of all whoredom, but instead marry
a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman. What does that mean? A strange woman.
A stranger is a heathen, a Gentile, same thing. You know what that means.
No,
It's,
no, no,
it's
no.
somebody else.
Sure. But a strange woman. What does that mean? That phrase, strange woman.
A strange woman is a Gentile, a heathen. But when he says,
That does what?
huh?
That does what? What is
He's
this?
just free. It's a strange woman. Somebody that's outside of our people is not one of the children of the prophets. He says Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If they're not from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it's not our people.
No, brother, listen. If Noah is a prophet, and you're saying that these strange women are not children of the
Say
prophet,
it again.
that would be a lie, because we've all come from Noah. So my point is this: when it says, "Beware of whoredom, marry a woman from the seed of thy fathers," and there's a reason why he's saying that, and take not a strange woman to wife. It's the same thing that we see in the law, even in Deuteronomy 7, when the Lord told the children of Israel not to marry or intermarry with the Canaanites, Perizzites, Hittites, and all that stuff. Why? Because they served false gods. It's the same reason why he told them not to marry women of strange women, because they would turn their hearts away from God. That has always been the context, even in the time of Genesis. So it was always based upon these women or men being strange, whether the men be uncircumcised, like we see in Genesis with Dinah, or the women are pagans who worship false gods, like we saw with Solomon, like we see in Deuteronomy 7. That has always been the context, and that's why he's telling them, don't marry a strange woman, but marry a woman of thy fathers, because they worship the one true God. That's the context of a strange woman. That's the same thing, because if you just say you marrying another woman means you hate your people so much, well, we're going to have some problems when we start looking at great men of the Bible who clearly married women who were not Israelites. Starting off with the patriarchs.
Turn off for who?
The patriarchs, meaning, you can start at Noah, you can stay in Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
It actually said they married women of their kindred, actually. So what you're talking about is incorrect.
But they didn't marry Israelites. Your statement was that marrying marrying
Paul. What actually? Go ahead, finish.
Meaning that you hate your people. But in the Bible, since the 12 tribes, men married women of other nations. We just read a law that allowed for it. So my question is, if marrying other women that are not Israelites or of your people is eating your people, why would God put in the law to allow Israelite men to marry women that are not their people? Especially
okay, there's a lot.
Israel. It's not like there's shortage of.
You pretty much stabbed yourself with like a million swords.
Right.
First off, yes, you said the patriarchs didn't marry Israelite women. Well, that'd be like saying, yeah, Adam didn't marry Israelite. Brother, they were already. God had chosen seeds. Adam was chosen. Methuselah, all of them. My fault. Methuselah, Noah, Shem. These were chosen seeds. God always dealt with his chosen people, the sons of God. I'm sure you understand who the sons of God are, which are the Israelites. Everybody, the Israelites, they're not sons of God. They're sons of men. They're not God's children. Period. And the Bible backs that up. So back to what I was saying. So yes, these people are not sons of God. Huh? My fault. Let me finish. Anyways, point out.
No, Abraham, Jacob is not Israelites.
Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are sons of God. They were chosen. You know how I know this? You can even go back to Genesis 9 when Ham got cursed. When that dirty Hamite got cursed, guess what happened? He said, Ham's son. He said, "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem." He didn't say, "Blessed be the Lord God of everybody." Blessed be the Lord God of Shem. What that means? It's not the God of them other niggas. He said, Japheth and Ham are nobody. That's what the Bible said. That's basically what he's saying. They just
Sure
here.
about that, brother?
They had laws. They didn't have the in-depth. Huh?
Let me show you
I
something,
didn't hear
man.
you say it again.
I said, let me show you something. Because you just made a statement that is false. There's a reason why it's blessed be the Lord God of Shem, because God was carving out a line, or i.e. like Romans 11 says, a olive tree, that was going to bring us to Abraham, in whom he was set the promise with, that would then bring along the promised seed, which is Christ. So it doesn't mean that God is not the God of these other people. It's just that blessed be the God of Shem, because that's the line in which the Messiah would come. But look at what the scripture says concerning God. This is Jeremiah 32:27. It says, behold, I am the Lord, meaning, Yahweh. We had this discussion before. I am the Lord, the God of all flesh.
Okay.
You said that he was just the God of Shem and not those other N words, but God said through Jeremiah, an Israelite, he's the God of all flesh.
Okay. He is. No.
I'm just making sure.
You said what now?
Now I'm just
So hold
making
on.
sure because
He's the
you
God.
just said
Okay.
he wasn't.
He's not. He's not their
You said
God.
he's
He's a
the God
God of all flesh, but he's not their God. Just like, you got a
what is
wife?
all flesh? All right, let me read one more scripture.
No, sorry, got
This is
time.
clear for you.
Go
Turn to
ahead.
17 right quick, and see
Turn to
we're gonna
what?
see what the said. This is gonna tie right in Acts 17, and this is gonna tie right in what I just read in Jeremiah. So in Jeremiah, he said, "I am the Lord Yahweh, the God of all flesh." Now we're gonna read Acts 17 and see that's the very same thing that the apostle echoes when he's talking to the Greeks.
I know exactly where you're going.
All right, let's read it.
You're gonna kill yourself out. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, okay,
All
cool.
right, go ahead.
All right, so Acts 17. We start at verse. I'll just get to the point. All right, so I'll start at verse 25 actually. So it says, "Neither is worship with men's hands." So this is what the apostle is saying to the Greeks who was worshiping, this unknown God that they had, monument they had set up. "Neither is worship with men's hands, as though he needed anything," meaning, not making any similitude or graven images and trying to worship God. As though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. Now, my first question is, does God give all people life, all people breath, and all things, or just certain people?
God controls everything.
Okay, so he literally gives all
So
life, like every on the earth.
yes.
All right, cool. And breath, yeah. So that's how we live. All right, cool. Verse 26. "And have made of one blood," or depending on what translation you read, it says by one man, which would be Adam, "all nations of men to dwell on all the face of the earth." So we both agree everybody comes from Adam. "And have determined the times before appointed," or depending on what translation you read, the time of their rise and falls, "and the bounds of their habitation," like we see in Genesis 11. And this is why he did it. That the subject hasn't changed. You're still talking about all nations on the earth. Every man that God gives life and breath to.
Hold on, real quick. Before you
Okay.
continue,
All right.
Acts 17:26. Do you know where you got that from?
What? Wait, say
Do you
again?
know where Acts 17:26 came from?
What do you mean where it came from?
Because you basically broke it down. He said, "And have made of one blood all nations," yeah, because it was according to Adam, "of men on the earth to dwell on the face of the earth, and
Okay.
have determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation," which is where they're going to
Right.
be at, where they're going to live. That goes
Yeah.
directly with Deuteronomy 32:9, correct?
Well, Genesis 11 is established when he gave every man their
No,
lots of
no.
lands.
No, I'm going to tell you, here it goes right here. Deuteronomy 32:9. Here's what he did, exactly what it says. I'm sorry,
All right,
verse
32
8.
and 9.
When
All
the
right.
Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, he read on. When he separated the sons of Adam, all flesh came, that one flesh, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of
You said,
Israel. For the
oh, you
Lord's
said 32
portion
and what?
is his people. Jacob is a lot of his inheritance. Deuteronomy 8 and 9.
32 and 8.
That Acts 17, and he just pretty much repeating what he just said. 17:26 is just saying
That's
he made
actually
one
not what
blood
he's
from
quoting.
Adam. That's exactly what he's quoting.
He's not
He
quoting
appointed
that.
the bounds of their habitation. The bounds of habitation is your boundaries of your home. So he made that a king to them. All right, that's what he did. But if you, and I'm pretty sure you get down to Acts 17:30 where he's going to say, this time, huh?
All right, hold on. All right, listen. Acts 17 and 26. All right, let's not stray away, because the point is that you made a statement that God was not the God of all people, but we read the scripture that says he's the God of all flesh. And then I read Acts 17, specifically the main point of this verse is verse 26, 6, because it shows you God's purpose of creating all the nations. So the purpose of God creating all the nations from one
I just
blood,
gave you the scripture that goes with.
For in the times appointed and the bounds of their habitation. I see that in Genesis 11 first, when he gave every man their lands. Verse 27 says this, that they should seek the Lord, meaning all the nations of the earth, correct? He created all the nations from Adam that they should seek him, because he gives them all life and breath in all things. I don't know if you froze. I'll wait for you to unfreeze right quick, unless you jump out. All right, he froze up. I'm gonna let him come back in here. Excuse me. All right, and until he jumps back in here, the scripture you read in Deuteronomy 32 and 8, when it talks about Israel's the Lord portion, that's because Israel was chosen out of all the people of the earth to be first fruits unto God, to be priests and representatives of God under the first covenant, to be a light in the world to the other nations, that the other nations would seek the Lord. That's the whole point. He didn't choose them like, hey, you know what? Screw these other people. I'm gonna just choose y'all, and that's it. That's not why he did that. It was for the sole purpose of being a light to the other nations in a dark world, priest of God, to show the nations how to show number one who the one true living God is, and that they should reject their false gods and then come into the one true living God. We see that in Solomon's prayer in 1 Kings chapter 8, starting at verse 41. He's trying to use that as if God is saying, screw these other people. Israel is my portion. That is not the context of what it means by Israel is his portion. All right, they were first fruits chosen by God. Okay, so I'll just wait for him to jump back in here. Like conveniently skip Genesis 11. Like that's when God gave man their lands. Genesis 11. All right, but he tried to run the Deuteronomy 32 and 8 to try to paint it into this narrative that the apostle's talking about, and it's not. That's not what he's quoting. That's not what he's talking about. So I'm just waiting for him to jump back in so we can yeah, man. So as soon as you come in here, man, just send that little invite thingamajig and I'll jump you back in here. So until you jump back in here, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up Acts 17 right quick. And have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation. All right, when that happened in Genesis 11, after God dispersed the peoples into all the earth, after the Tower of Babel, and he dispersed them and gave them lands. All right, verse 27, that they should seek the Lord. God created all nations of men from one blood, which is Adam, to dwell on all the face of the earth, that they would seek him, if happily they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live. Remember, up above it said he give to all life and all breath, and move and have our being.
All right. As certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Every human being on the earth is an offspring of God because they all came of Adam, who's created in the image of God. And of one man came all the people we see on the earth today. And all the people on the earth today is placed here that they would seek the Lord, the one who gives them life, breath, and that they move and have their being. He's every man's life source. And when he removes that breath that he had given man, men die. So, I don't understand why it's so hard to get. He said, he tried to run to and it says, blessed be the God of Shem, not understanding that had to do with the promise, and then thinking that means like literally screw all these other people. I'm just the God of Shem. And even if he wanted to take that point, he's the God of Shem. Nah, I ain't even gonna go down that path right now. But the point is that that's the context he tried to use it in because he's in IUIC. He's being taught that the Bible's only for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and that God is only the God of the 12 tribes, even though he was clearly the God of Gentiles first. He was just the God of the nations or the God of all flesh before he just became the God of Israel. And he was considered the God of Israel because he had made a covenant with them that he did not make with other people. But he did not cease from being other people's gods. And we see that even in the very scriptures. So let me get a quick let me get a scripture right quick that shows this. All right. This is the same thing where the apostles get it from when they say, is he the God of the Jews only? Nay. Is he not also the God of the Gentiles? Yea, the Gentiles also. All right. Matter of fact, let me get that. The very Jews of the Bible understood this. I don't understand how these guys who claim to love the Bible so much and Christians are false followers of Christ, yet they can't grasp this concept. This is not every black Hebrew Israelite. There's some of them that understand that. But specifically with Rick Judah and IUIC and them and these One West camps, I don't understand how they cannot understand that if they're supposedly supposed to be the true Israelites, why they can't grasp something that the true Israelites understood. All right, Romans 3:29. Is God the God of the Jews only? Is he not the God of the Gentiles too? Yes, of the Gentiles too. Since there is one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. All right. That's Romans 3:29. All right. Jeremiah says he's God of all flesh. Why? Because he giveth all flesh life and breath, and all flesh have their being because of him. And he created all men on the face of the earth through one man, which was Adam, that they would seek the Lord. All right. So I'm just waiting for him to come back. Maybe his phone died. I don't know what happened. Yo, brother Surreal, what's going on, bro? So I was waiting to see if he jumped back in here. Yo, bro, what's going on? Tab any viewer. Now, how do I see the other viewers? It's only showing me 4. Yeah, I was waiting for him to jump back in. He froze. Um, I told him to drop out and come back in, so I don't know if his phone actually died or something. But if he don't come back in like 5 minutes, I'll just wrap it up and wait for him to come back. And then I'll jump back on. But yeah, so those from the One West faction, man, like Rick Judah and IUIC and stuff like that, man. This is why these guys can't understand the gospel. They can't grasp it. It's foolishness to them. They can't grasp how is it that they believe that only those who was given the law of Moses at Sinai is the ones that need some saving, and not understanding why the law at Sinai came in the first place. All right. They don't understand the plight that all the nations are in. Um, and what Christ came to do. And so they teach things like this, you know. He mentioned about the whole, you know, you can't marry women of other nations and stuff like that. But yet then admit that the law actually allowed for it. Now he tried to paint the narrative that, you know, that he tried to paint the narrative that marrying women outside your people mean you hate your people. Then, so why would God place in the law a provision for you to hate your people then? All right, I see he's back online. See, he's commenting on something. He's commenting on his stream to somebody. So I know his phone ain't dead. So I'm just waiting for him to come back in. Yeah, as soon as you jump back in here, man, just push a little invite button, man. So yeah. So, you know, the law allowed for these things. So, you know, that whole notion that, you know, you hate your people if you marry somebody of another nation, the context has always been since Genesis through Revelations. Don't be equally yoked. Don't be unequally yoked, sorry, with unbelievers. We see that same principle being applied in the Old Testament, where the Jews were prohibited from marrying people from strange nations who worship false gods. But if that person forsook their false gods and converted through circumcision under the first covenant and came into the covenant of God, then they were allowed to marry them. All right. We see it with Ruth. We see it with, you know, all this kind of, you know, obviously the patriarchs, like I mentioned. That has always been the context. When we see it in Deuteronomy 7, when God made a provision for them not to marry the Hittites and Pizzites and Canaanites and all that stuff, it was always because these people had served false gods. All right. But through conversion, they could marry them. All right, cool. No problem, bro. I'm just waiting for him to jump back in. He said he's not coming back. Why not? I see you online. I see you online. I see him carrying on a conversation on his post. So why he not coming back in here? See, man, that's if he really don't come back, I'm really, man. I got some stuff to say, because this is the stuff that I can't stand with these guys, man. These guys, they be so ready to go put in work and go in the streets and deceive people, but when it's time to sit down and actually examine the scriptures to see what the scripture actually saying, because guess what? When you go out in the streets with IUIC and them, they're gonna be telling people the Bible says you are in sin or whatever if you marry a white woman or if you marry an Asian woman or whatever, while the law allows for it through conversion. You know, they're going to quote Tobit 4 because it goes with their, or they think it goes with their narrative. You hate your people if you marry somebody outside your nation. Well, golly, man, we got some patriarchs to talk about here. You know, and IUIC people, when they would say those things in the school, people would then say to the bishops and them, well, what about Moses? The question would always come up, what about Moses? And his reply would be, you ain't Moses. That would be his reply to us. You ain't Moses. So wait, so Moses get to break the law and it'd be all right? Moses, it's okay for Moses to hate his people, it'd be all right? They got no answer for it. It goes against their narrative, so he just says, you ain't Moses. That's his answer that he would give us. And then they try to come up with these excuses. He was gone from his people for these years and blah, 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 blah. So hopefully he comes back, man. Or I'm going to call Coward on this one because I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because he froze. So I thought his phone, something messed up with his phone. So maybe his phone had died. But I see he online. I saw him commenting under his live stream to somebody. So he got no excuse. He could jump back in here. If you're so confident in what you're teaching in that lie, man, you won't be running away when somebody's ready to challenge you on it, man. All these guys know is some, yeah, I know why. Yeah, I know why. But you guys already seen it. The little bit, I told him I was gonna waste much of his time, you know, but I thought he would come back because we got cut off in the middle of a conversation. At least finish that part off. But you guys see it, you know. The brother's talking about, you know, you breaking the law or whatever the case is, or hate your people if you marry somebody outside your people, and then admits to what the law has written. So what is he talking about? He tried to then paint the narrative that when it says, blessed be the God of Shem, that it means screw Japheth, screw Ham, you know, whoever, the son's name, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Screw them two. I'm only the God of Shem. And he tried to paint it that in that light. Now I understand that got to do with the promise. Then take him to Jeremiah, where actual Israelites say God is the God of all flesh. There was no way he could twist that one around. And then Acts 17, he tried to run away from that last verse and try to go to something that he ain't talking about. Just because it reads some similar words in there. He's not talking about he divided the lands according to the sons of Israel, and Israel his portion. That's not what Paul was quoting or talking about when he was talking to the Greeks. Else he would have said so. All right? But what he's quoting is from the beginning, when God created man from one blood, which was Adam, and then he before appointed, meaning predestined, their rise and their falls. All right, that's why you keep seeing a kingdom rise, a kingdom fall, a kingdom rise, a kingdom fall, because God predestined their rise and fall in the beginning. All right, and where they would dwell, all right, on the earth. But he created them that they may seek the Lord. I wanted to ask him about that. What does that mean, bro? That he created them that they may seek him. So why is it that you and IUIC seeing these guys out here talking about the Bible ain't for somebody or salvation ain't for somebody because you ain't an Israelite, when the Bible says God created all the nations that they would seek him? So what are they talking about? And I know some that are caught up in that heretical doctrine. I'll be like, he's just trying to save the white man. He's just trying to save the nations. Y'all better be lucky God ain't got your thought pattern. He's a lot more merciful than men. I'm only gonna wait like 2-3 more minutes on this brother. All right, the brother say he wasn't coming back. The brother say he said he wasn't coming back. Yeah, stop playing hide and seek, man. I done seen you online. I saw you post something, so don't be talking about something wrong with your phone or your battery died, because that's a lie. And I don't want to hear I had to go. Yo, what's going on, bro? Brother G-Con. Yeah, man, this brother froze. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, waiting on the brother. Told him to drop out and come back in. So I thought maybe his phone died or something, because he's in the middle of the conversation. And then I saw him comment under his live stream to somebody. So I know his phone is on, and I know he's online. But the brother Alfredo said he wasn't coming back. Oh, man, it's a joke, man. Like, man, if you're going to be running from conversation, bro. See, that's the thing, man. That's the thing about these guys, man. These guys are a gimmick, man. These one Westers, man, these false black Hebrew Israelites, man, it's a gimmick, man. They dress up in costumes and play hide and seek in the streets. You know, play trick or treat, man. That's what they do, man. Trying to trick or treat you, man. Put you in their little bag, give you some little candy, get your little emotions up, and then put you in the trick bag, man, with that dumb doctrine. Them dudes a bunch of skeletons out there, man. They can't preach unto you life, so they preach unto you death. And masquerade around like they love the law. Bunch of hypocrites, man. But that's the thing about these guys, man. They make videos, you know. That's why I'm like, you know, I know he was with IUIC at least in 2016. I don't know if he's still with them, because I said this is something that they normally don't do. There's something that they don't normally allow. You know, for their members to just get on and do these live streams and stuff. They're very tight when it comes to their school, man, and how they do things. Everything got to be branded. Anytime they do a class, they got to have the IOC shirts on or colors. And it's on their platforms. They're not doing an open platform like this where somebody can just jump in on there and start questioning them. They have their little radio shows, but it's always in their controlled environment. It's not something open up in a sense. And they want to run you around the corner, but when it's time to slow down and actually, you know, somebody actually asks you questions and you got to now go through the scriptures and now answer this stuff, they rather deal with people that don't know what it is that they teach and not somebody that was actually in the movement. And so, you know, he'll make his videos every day, spewing his rhetoric. His phone be perfect, boy. For them 2 hours he be talking. Get up in this room, it be freezing up, dropping out, can't come back. I gotta go. All this kind of stuff, man. All of a sudden, the phone ain't working right. You know, these guys, they want to go in the streets because in the streets, obviously, the game is this. They got their precept packet. They're taught that, right. Exactly, man. Hey, peace, Brother Joshua. They rather do all their spewing in the streets and in their classrooms on their little, you know, broadcasts because they don't want to be questioned. Definitely by somebody who was in there. They don't want to be questioned. They want to just go in the streets and deal with a bunch of people that don't know something. And they'll be on the streets bragging, boy. And they'll be like, we challenge any Christian to come up here and prove us false right now. Come on, bro. Matter of fact, they did that with the brother Jesus the Word, K-Dub. The brothers was on the side while IRC was talking, and they started talking that rhetoric. Hey, man, we challenge any Christian to step up right now and challenge us. Well, the brothers, they was going to wait and let them talk for a while, but then they saw him saying that, so they stepped up. And then all of a sudden, now IRC don't want to deal with them. They don't want to talk to people, man, that don't know what it is that they teach. That's why when you see them debate, specifically IUIC, Nathaniel and them, you'll see them in these kind of platforms. They either talking to some, you know, and I'm not, you know, disrespecting my elders, but they want to debate elderly Christian men that don't know what it is that they teach, neither their doctrine or how they interpret scriptures. They then go on their African radio, whatever, to spew their rhetoric because the radio hosts don't know what they teach. All they know is these guys out here trying to help black people, and they let them on to the radio shows, and then they spew their rhetoric, and nobody's really questioning them. All right, or at least in an interrogative method, the radio hosts might have a question or two, but it's not in the same sense as I would ask a question. What is my intent? That by asking them this question, it will expose them being liars. Whereas the person that's doing the radio interview, when he asks a question, it's generally because he just got a question. So they rather deal in those type of situations. So when y'all hear them say, y'all Christians scared of debate, or we challenge any Christian, they're talking about the stereotypical Christian that they have in their mind, the ones that only say, you know, God loves everybody, and they don't know the Bible. Like, you know, the ones that can just kind of quote stuff but can't defend it. Those are the ones they want to deal with. Those are the ones they beguile in the streets. But brothers like Brother G-Con, myself, the brother Surreal, the brother Rick, Jesus is the Word, the brother K-Dub, these brothers that know these guys' doctrine, when they say we challenge any Christian, they ain't talking about us. They ain't talking about us, any Christian. They're talking about any ignorant Christian. That's what they mean by that. Now, I'm specifically talking about One West people. I ain't talking about, well, I'll say organized One West people. Because you have your kind of rogue, what IUIC would call individualites, the people that are not in camps, but they're highly, what's the word I'm looking for? Highly, the word when somebody, when you're, I'll just use the word motivated. It's the word I'm looking for, man. Anyway, they're highly motivated, or whatever case is, by the One West doctrine, even though they're not in a camp. Those kind of guys, they'll jump in the rooms with us. And we have conversations with a bunch of them kind of guys. But these organized guys like IUIC and GMS and ISUPK and these guys, I see the brothers for real doors just starting to look kind of open for us to start talking to these head guys, man, on a regular basis. Most of the time we dealing with, guys that's kind of doing their own thing, or they're with a smaller group and not these upper echelon guys. Yeah, no problem. But that's what I can't stand, man. This is my thing. If you go behind the streets and you're going to talk all that mess out there in the streets and beguiling people with your doctrine, and then say, we challenge any Christian. That Christians don't know the Bible. And then a Christian that know the Bible say, hey, man, well, look, let's sit down and go over this Bible here. Oh, by the way, I know it is what you teach and how you teach it because I used to be in the movement. So let's sit down. Oh, I ain't gonna waste my time with you because you already been exposed to the truth, brother. See, you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, brother. Well, what's blaspheming the Holy Spirit? So then you wake up to this truth that you're an Israelite, and then, and that you got to keep these laws, and then you turn away. That's blaspheming. Man, get out of here, man. That's not blaspheming the Holy Spirit. So, I mean, these brothers talk all that rhetoric, man. This brother did a almost 2-hour live stream. His phone was perfect. All of a sudden, he frees up with me. I give him the benefit of the doubt. Now the brother telling me the brother said he ain't coming back. But yet, if you guys notice, when he was talking to me right at the beginning, when he said he ain't had much time, he mentioned even at the end of his thing, something about going in the streets and hopefully waking up some people or whatever the case is. Man, get out of here, man. Y'all putting them people further to sleep, further in their sins, because that's what the sleep is. Ain't got nothing to do with the nationality. It's got to do with their sins. And you guys are putting them further in it. Even if you don't come back, you guys see it, man. Let's see. Okay, how come Deuteronomy 28 says no one will buy them when they offer themselves into slavery? Crickets. Right, they'd be like, see, the white man changed that, brother. The white man changed that. See, it say you should be sold. And that buy there is an old cricket word, meaning no man shall redeem you from your captivity. But then they'll show you this. So after they say that, they'll show you this dumb sign. All right, hold on. When they try to say, see, the truth is out there. You see them post this meme around. I know y'all have seen it. Hold on. Let me get the picture up. Soon as my internet stop acting crazy. All right, let me do it on this one. No man shall redeem you out of your captivity. Only Christ. All right. But then they'll show you this, though. Oh, let me just do it this. Let me turn my camera on. Show you this. Free blacks of Israel Hill. All right, and they say, see, and then they'll focus on the line when it says this. These Israelites, quotation mark, and other free African Americans, right? So they'll show that, see, the truth is here. Not knowing the history of this. All right, these people were not proclaimed to be the Israelites when you go and look at the actual background of this sign. I'll probably do a whole little. I think me and the brother. I'm gonna check with the brother Faithful. I think we have done one. If not, then that's probably something we need to do in the future. So now, how you deal with free men? How you deal with the free blacks that were clearly freed from slavery and then went back by ship to Africa and started Liberia, the government, and then took slaves of their own? How you explain these type of things when you say no man shall buy you, meaning no man shall redeem you out of your captivity? And one of the reasons they give us of why they're in captivity so much is that they don't have their own government and all this stuff. So how do you explain these free blacks who clearly had their own government? How do you explain the Mexicans who got their own government, got their own military? How do you explain these things if these people supposedly ain't supposed to be redeemed from captivity yet? You can't even get to that until you figure out and explain how in the world Mizraim becomes spiritual when in the entire Deuteronomy 28 context, every time you see Egypt, it says the land of Mizraim. I like how the brother G-Con brought it out in his live stream a couple of nights ago concerning that. And he mentioned, you guys, because they'll say, who else been through these curses? Well, at the very least, we could say Egypt had, because the very curses God was putting on the Israelites, they had seen while they were in Egypt. Like, for example, in Deuteronomy 28, the Lord said, and I will put on you the botches of Egypt. Well, what's the botches of Egypt? Well, that was something that Egyptians went through, that Israel saw, that God said, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to put that on you. So, at least, to the very least, the Africans went through it first. So, you know, that whole rhetoric, who else been through these curses and all that kind of stuff, man, bunch of nonsense. So, I see the brother really ain't going to come back. He's going to take the cowardly road, because he got no excuse. His phone was on. I saw him carrying on a conversation. Now, he might try to say, man, I had to go and wake people up. No, it's kind of bull crap, man. That's not what he's doing. He's lying to the people. And that's the stuff I can't stand, bro. If you're going to see, this is the thing. Brothers like me, Brother G-Con, etc., and I'm not boasting us, but what I'm saying is that just like with the apostles, they were out there teaching the gospel, and they were defending it. They were debating it. Debating that Jesus was the Christ against the Jews who were saying he wasn't the Messiah. They went to the council in Jerusalem and argued against those Pharisees that were there, that was saying, that was adding to the gospel by saying that the Gentiles needed to be circumcised in the flesh and keep the law of Moses to be saved. They went there and argued this. The same thing with us. We preach the gospel, and if we need to have a debate or a dialogue with somebody who's teaching another gospel, then we have it. Yet these guys, yeah, I gotta go, or I ain't got time. We gotta wake our people up, and all this other excuses they want to give. Instead of sit their behinds down, slow down, stop running through the precept packet all day, and actually go through the scriptures, then you would see exactly what happened in the short time he was here. Because the short time he was here, this brother was painting all kind of narratives. The guy was just the God of Shem, screw these other N-words like he used. You know, you hate your people if you marry someone out your nation, but then he agrees that the law allowed for the Israelite men to marry women of other nations. But then he tried to downplay that like, you know, yeah, but, you know, we're not fighting a real war. This guy's a joke, man. A joke, bro. Y'all need to be hitting, if y'all black Hebrew Israelites, y'all need to be hitting this brother up in his inbox and telling him stop doing these videos, man. Just sit back and comment in the comment section. Stop making videos, man. Because this is my view. If you're bold enough to go back and forth all day long on the comment section, you should be bold enough to jump on a live stream. That's the way I look at it. Because all it is all you're doing is verbalizing now what you're typing. That way, I'm seeing your face. That way, I'm hearing your voice at least. And I'm hearing the context in which you're giving instead of having to figure out whatever you're talking about in the comment section amongst 30 other people that has come in to add in their 2 cents. So if you would be bold enough to make all your claims, to try to post all your links like the one brother yesterday was posting satire sites. And for those that don't know what that is, it means fake news, trying to say that the Jews in Israel today are fakes. And that's another thing. Out of all the groups of Jews in Israel today, why y'all so focused on one group, the Khazars? There's a bunch of groups of Jews there. The Khazars ain't the only light Jews there. So why is it that y'all so focused on just, it just so happens, coincidence, I guess. You guys are superstitious, man, and conspiratorial. All that information come from theories. People who are enemies to the Jews coming up with these theories to discredit them, to try to get them out of the land, trying to get them away from their inheritance. The same thing. If anybody was going through a Psalms 83, they conspired against us to remove us out of the land, all kind of stuff, it'll be them, not you. You got one side of Black Hebrew Israelites saying, oh, the nations, they're conspiring against us. They're trying to hide our nationality. You know, they know who we are. But then you got people like that Pastor Umar Thibault that claim that some Arab or Israeli or whoever, Iraqi or whatever you want to say, Muslim world leaders wrote him a letter claiming that the black, brown tribes and Khazars ain't got no biological means to thing. You guys, if y'all see my live stream on my Brother J page, y'all saw me respond to him. But you got him saying that the UN is actually not against y'all. This is what he said. They're actually not against the true Israel. They're against the fake ones. That's what he said. So why are y'all so heavily focused just on one small group out of the bunch of Jews that's there? So who else is fakes according to y'all? Because the Khazars ain't the only one. So by y'all saying that the Khazars are the fake Jews, are y'all admitting that the Sephardic Jews, who are also a lot of them are like Khazars, the Iraqi Jews, the Egyptian Jews, the Jews in Asia, the Jews in Europe, y'all admitting they true Jews? Since you're only focused on Khazars and saying that they're fakes, who else is fakes? And if you only focus on Khazars and saying they're fakes and not the other bunch of Jews that's there, then how can you say the true Jews are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? These people are not blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that are Jews that you guys aren't going against. And even if, all right, I'm speaking, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm speaking in a what if scenario. Even if, which is not, but even if all Khazars were converts, let's just say they are all converts. Based off what it is that they do, even though a lot of them, because they reject Christ, are not truly Jews because they're not circumcised in the heart, they're only circumcised in the flesh. But just Jew-wise or customs of Moses-wise, they know the custom, they know the law, and the customs of Moses better than the ones parading around the streets talking about the laws just for them. And we see it in their very customs, and they've been doing it for centuries. They ain't just start doing it in the last 100 years. This has been for centuries. And once again, because, you know, the Black Hebrew Israelites use this reasoning when it comes to who they, you know, when it comes to Paul or somebody, but for some reason reject this type of reasoning when it comes to Khazars. Listen, just as y'all say, well, Paul was a Jew, but he was called a Roman because he was Roman citizen, or that's where he lived. Or you had a Jew, you know, he was referred to as a Jew of Tarsus, right? Or a Jew from Rome. Or he would be considered today a Roman Jew. All right? So he's a Roman Jew, but he's really a Jew. He's just a Roman Jew because he lived in Rome because of the dispersion. All right? That's where he was born. So he's just a Roman Jew. Why is that logic not applied to the Khazars? They're only called Khazarian Jews because of where they came from. That's where they were. That's the location where they were because of dispersion. They're no different than Egyptian Jews. They're called Egyptian Jews because they were in Egypt, but they were still Jews. They're just called Egyptian Jews. Or Iraqi Jews. They lived in Iraq or in the Babylonian area because they never came back to the land, so they're just considered Iraqi Jews. Or Jews from Sudan. They're considered Sudanese Jews because that's where they lived. So why is that logic not applied? No, because you guys are so caught up in theories. And every day, instead of edifying people of things that got to do with faith and Christ and exalting Christ, you guys want to exalt your flesh and exalt the law over Christ, as if Christ is bound by a law or something. And then on top of that, preaching a perverted gospel. Brother Jay, here's the kicker. Those Hebrew Israelites that argue for Limba and Igbo are Jews. The genetic studies were confirmed by the genetic similarities with Ashkenazis, Khazars, and Sephardic Jewish genetic frequencies and matches. Man, you know, I ain't heavily invested in the DNA area, but I know the brother G-Con looks into that stuff, and he'll know how to explain that stuff way better than me. But that's what I don't understand, man, with these guys, man. You know, these people ain't just became Jews yesterday. They didn't just, we forgot who we was and we just woke up yesterday and, everybody else that's saying they're Jews are fakes. Romans 2:9, taking scriptures way out of context to fit this narrative, man. I don't understand how, because I always try to show the brothers and sisters. The teachers y'all have today, like Tahar, Johanna, Tazadakia, Arya, Nathaniel, Kanai, and these other various leaders from these splinter camps today, they all stem from, listen to me, they all stem from the One West faction. The One West school was a school full of a bunch of false prophets. All right? They were full of false prophets. All right? They went around preaching false prophecies. People ruined their lives behind these guys because they was teaching that Christ is coming back in the year 2000. And it's 2018 now. According to them, Christ is 18 years late. And these guys are still in the streets doing the same thing they was doing before. The thing is that newer generations have come and are not aware of what they did in the past, so they're able to still beguile people. But if people were aware of the past, that these guys taught false doctrine, that these guys are false prophets, they gave false prophecies, talking about the world was going to end in 2000, and it's 2018 now, maybe people will say, hey, hold up. Well, according to the law, since we're going to exalt the law says if a prophet gives a false prophecy, no one's to listen to him. We're not to fear him. So why is it if these guys are false prophets, they've given false prophecies, and you got, Ricard over there giving false prophecies with GOCC and all these things, and it keeps coming back, these guys are false because their prophecies never come to pass. Why is it nobody has snapped in anybody's brain yet to say, hey, hold up, man. According to the law, we ain't supposed to listen to this man. We ain't supposed to fear him because the Lord didn't send him. Instead, people make excuses. Oh, water rising. We're just waking up. We just gathering ourselves. Take me on. Take me on. Oh, man. You want to jump on? I knew you was at work the last time, man. No problem, bro. Let me see. And when these guys see me, obviously, they know that I was in the movement. When they see me talking about it, they're like, "Man, see, this guy's bitter. This guy's bitter, man." Listen, bro. Let me type up the definition of bitter, man. Let me read this to you guys. This is bitter. All right, let me get into the context, not of taste bitter, but the other bitter. All right, let me see. Let me get it. My eyes playing games. Quick second, guys. Oh, let me type it in. All right. All right. Marked by strong resentment or cynicism. And the example they give is bitter about the divorce. Bitter, very difficult to accept or bear the bitter truth. All right. Bitter, expressive of severe grief or regret. Shed bitter tears. All right. So that's in the context of what they're trying to say that I am, or well, they say, I'm bitter, meaning like I'm hurt that I'm not in the black people. It's like moving the one. Nah. This movement left a very bitter taste in my mouth that I can't stand. All right, because I was deceived. I tried to deceive others. I sung songs that was deceitful because I was spreading the deceitful gospel. All right. And so it left a bitter taste in my mouth. And every time I hear this false doctrine that I once used to teach, it gets under my skin. That's why I go against it. So, all right, that's what I'm gonna do, man. Cause I see this brother really ain't coming back. I'm gonna jump on in a few. I need to go handle something right now. But Lord's will I'll be on and to continue talking about some of this stuff, man. Because this stuff gets under my skin, man. Let me see. 99% of all black Hebrew Israelite groups were birthed from One West, GOCC, Kingdom Harbor, take your pick. They all started there. Right. And that's the thing, man. The newer generations, people like myself, people like Rick Judah are not aware of the past. They're just totally ignorant. They get the precept packet. They're told these guys are true prophets. And, they're not around people and they just seclude themselves from people that could help them and show them what it is that they're in. But because they bought into the doctrine and that, what they think they are in the flesh, anybody that comes against that notion, they reject that and they go on being deceived. I went through it. The brother G-Con went through it at one time. Many brothers that came out, we went through it already. I was totally oblivious to the history of this movement, where it started from. I was oblivious to the One West people and what went down there, the doctrines they would teach. What they taught, I didn't know about the year 2000 prophecy until I got out of the thing. I didn't even know about it until afterwards, I believe. So a lot of these guys have no idea. They have no idea who they're following. They're just blind brothers and sisters being led astray by blind so-called leaders. And these blind leaders, all right, they don't want to deal with people like myself, the brother G-Con and them on open platforms, specifically neutral platforms, where we have to slow down and go through these scriptures and actually get the context of the scriptures, man. They want to move quick. They want to throw out a lot of verses out of their context, and it's hard for us to address all of it because we got to take all those verses that they threw out of context and throw them back in context. That's why it's harder in the debate format and all kinds of stuff. We'd rather have dialogues or sit-downs. Plus, in the debate format, a lot of times, they can hide behind their rhetoric, man. But in the dialogue, where you're just constantly talking to each other and asking each other questions like what I was doing with the brother when he was in here, it's easier for them to be exposed as liars. Right. Man, this last 2 or 3 days, man, I've heard some crazy stuff when it came. After I made that post about if your Jesus is created, we don't believe in the same Jesus, you a heretic, bruh. I've seen some crazy responses as to what people think about Christ. And it blows my mind, man. Blows my mind. So I'm going to jump off here, man. Got to handle something right quick. And then, Lord's will, I'll be back on, man. So y'all peace, man. Be safe.